Greetings, friends and foes. Grab yourself a chair and please join James, Chris, Wes, and Lee on an adventure forged in the fires of creation. I am Josh, your host and dungeon master, and this is Hooked on Draconics.
Music is about to play and you gotta rock to it, but Jesus.
Right.
10 out of 10-itis?
No,
That joke is like 5 hours old now, Josh.
I know, but it wasn't. This version of the joke wasn't recorded.
Oh yeah, that's.
We've fractured off of several doomed timelines where podcasts were recorded and they were the greatest podcast known to man.
Thanks, Windows 10.
But then Windows had to ruin everything.
There was an update and it interacted poorly with the recording
Software.
and just fucked everything. And so we lost like an hour of good stuff.
Yeah. So you're going to get the C team.
You're going to get the dregs.
Yeah, you're going to get the useless
'cause
dregs.
Unfortunately, we had to leave Wes in one of those fractured timelines tonight.
Yeah, Wes got lost in a fractured timeline. And
RIP, which means we actually aren't releasing a normal
Hooked on Draconics episode.
Hooked on Draconics episode.
Which is fine that it got fucked up, right?
Yeah. It's fine.
It's fine.
Things happen.
Totally fine.
It's not a big problem.
So today, on this special episode, Hooked on Draconics Out-of-Character Conversation, Part 2, because I wasn't here for the first part.
Part 2, take 2.
Part 2.
Yeah. You were busy.
Just like Wes was in a doomed timeline that we left him there. I mean, I'll go retrieve him later. It's what I do. Yeah, you were in the asylum last time due to an R-word incident. Can we say it now? Are we good?
Raven.
Okay, we're just gonna say it, Raven.
He twitched a little bit when I said it, but I think he's past it.
Yeah. Yes.
I could see murder in his eye very briefly.
Like
That's crows.
Sure. They're the same.
Wait, what is a group of ravens called?
a flock.
Okay, there you go. Your joke didn't work. Chris?
I wasn't intending it that way.
Crows and ravens are
Very different.
different birds.
Yeah, but I wasn't intending it that way. You took it that way.
But they're both really fucking smart.
Yeah.
Never underestimate either one of them. I am warning you.
But Chris, you failed your joke. I'm going to need you to turn in your beads.
It wasn't a joke. These are my beads. You ain't getting them.
Come on.
No. No.
You
can't take my beads.
Take a shirt off. You can't take them back now.
Fine. Oh, God.
That was him taking the beads.
Out of character.
So, yes.
So, what we're going to do this time is, if you like our 20-minute long intros sometimes.
This episode's for you.
Known as the cold opens, yes, this episode is for you.
And some deja vu.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about,
Have I been in this place before?
We rehearsed this.
D&D stuff.
We did kind of, just
Yeah.
because of all the fucked up recordings.
Wait, what? Sorry, I was caught in a
We
deja
don't
vu
rehearse
loop.
anything on this podcast, but we did accidentally this time.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
yeah.
we're...
But not.
Can we not talk about planes?
We won't talk about planes.
We won't talk about planes or alignments.
No, we can talk about alignments.
I like
will.
alignments.
What we're going to do is we're going to start... You guys are all more often than not players around the table.
I'm DMing a game once a week now, buddy.
Awesome.
Nice.
Congratulations. Yes.
I'm DMing a game once in a blue moon,
Yeah.
even though it's only 3 people.
And I
You actually DM it less than once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
This is true.
and I more as in our group, I more often than not sit in the DM chair. I enjoy DMing. I like.
It's not by our choice. No, I'm just kidding.
Aw. And we discussed this in the previous Doomed podcast, but I have a little bit of ADHD when it comes to playing a character. I like to play multiple characters. I adopt several roles at once, so usually playing one character for an extended period of time doesn't mesh well with me, but I are more than often than not Dungeon Master.
And I didn't get to say this last time, but in the game I'm running, I'll be sure to kill you off. So
Okay,
you don't
sounds
get
good.
bored.
Yeah. Seems fair. But what we wanted to do today is we wanted to kind of go around the table, talk about what kind of characters we like to play more often than not. Because usually, sometimes people will tend to gravitate towards a specific kind of character.
Or at
What do
least
you
a
say?
specific class.
A
Yeah.
specific kind of class or specific kind of...
A specific archetype, yeah.
Yeah. So, I wanted to go... I was clapping for no reason. So I wanted to go around the table, and I wanted to see what you guys thought. What's your favorite? Lee,
Your favorite what?
class.
Oh, okay.
Class, race, archetype.
Does it have to be D&D?
Kind of character he likes to
Oh, we're
play.
talking. This is a D&D podcast, so yeah.
Okay.
Come on. You know, that's a hard question for me. I have Restart Titus. I like to be all of them all the time. I like to multi-class. If I had to pick favorites, I'd probably say on paper I like the Sorkadin, if you will. Sorcerer Paladin multi-class.
Oh, I was thinking a sorcerer orc. I don't know what I was thinking.
So orc.
I guess that's a sorcerer.
Sorcerer.
Yeah, sorry.
A sorcerer.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorcerer. I like barbarian fighters. I like cleric fighters. I multi-class a lot.
Yeah.
Druids?
Actually, yeah. Stump is the first druid I ever played, and I really do like the Circle of the Moon druid quite a bit.
The transformation seems like one of the best aspects of druids, and they get the best part of it, I think.
Yeah, Circle of the Moon for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's me. I like all of them.
Okay.
You know, anytime you want to kill off one of my characters, please.
Okay.
I'll be another one.
Sure.
Pass.
Pass. All
Oh,
right.
you don't have to pass. You're done.
Yeah, you finished. You
All right.
gave your thing.
You yield your time.
Yeah. Intern.
Yield the floor.
I yield my time. Fuck you.
Yes, as
The great philosopher of our time.
the great Socrates of our time has stated. I yield my time. Fuck you. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just search the videos on the internet for like late June, early July of 2020. You'll find it.
Yeah.
Yield my time. Fuck you.
But yeah, James, what's your favorite kind of character class, character race, character archetype?
Ooh,
I didn't say race.
Oh yeah, you didn't.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
you like goblins.
I like goblins. I like goblins and I like dwarves. And
You like subterranean races of chaos. No.
pass turn.
All right. Yield your time. Fuck you.
Yeah. Okay, this is an interesting question for me, at least. What do I like to play versus what do I think is fun to play versus what my favorite archetype of character is? There are many, many great stories throughout human history.
Oh my god, he's giving a high school project on this.
Yeah.
Jesus, I'm gonna go get a Coca-Cola real quick.
And typically I find that the main character from a lot of these stories carries a common theme. Human fighter.
Okay.
Yeah, Gandalf.
King Arthur.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gandalf was a
He's a level 1 wizard and a level 19 fighter.
Gandalf was a DMPC that didn't have a real class or archetype that he handed off to a player sometime in between The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings.
I'm telling you, level 1 wizard and a level 19 fighter.
And then, yes, at some point he was like, I want to take all the experience points. I am going to 1v1 this Balrog. And he's like, fine, you beat it. You're level 20, but your character died.
Yeah.
Harry Potter, he's a fighter.
Famously used a two-handed sword in combat.
Let's see here. Beowulf. King Leonidas.
I'd argue he's a barbarian, but
Gilgamesh. Leonidas, the extremely tempered and extremely disciplined fighter.
Oh, are we talking about from the movie 300?
Yes.
What is it?
Again, stories. Doesn't have to be... I mentioned King Arthur and he didn't jump on that one.
Well, yeah, I mean, I believe that one.
Goofy
No, I'm
from,
with you. I'm with
Goofy
you.
from Kingdom Hearts.
And I actually find it very fun to play the human fighter.
That took a second, sorry. But I am 100% with you. Human fighters.
Actually make great stories because they are the most relatable character
Yep.
that you can possibly play. And specifically, in my case, I typically do a very good job of playing old war veteran human fighters.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of not real world experience being in war, but I have studied a lot of combat styles. I did wrestling in high school. I did boxing after high school. I understand how actual physical combat works. Not that you have to take that into D&D, because you are allowed to be as fantastical with things as you want.
But I think any outside knowledge is often a benefit to the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most often it is. Sometimes it's a detriment. Sometimes it kills the mood.
Yeah.
Like physics
Like physics and planar talk.
and launching yourself onto a
And
blimp.
that's why it was a doomed timeline. But I also think in a world of fantastical, anomalous things that happen, having just a straight up human fighter against that tide is a struggle, or a story of conflict and struggle that is one of practical ascent. And I think it is, in my opinion, a fun way to go about things.
I like human fighters, yeah.
Yeah, human fighters.
What's the one with maneuvers?
The
Battlemaster?
Battlemaster.
I love that's my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said before, I said fighter barbarian multiclass. Super into it.
Yeah, I am down for that. And that would be more actually closely related to the King Leonidas from 300.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I will give you a fighter barbarian multi-class.
We can agree.
Mostly because, yeah, you pretty much raise those kids as barbarians and then discipline them into being fighters.
Yeah.
However, after saying that, that is my favorite story-wise race and class combination. However, what I find the most fun, I mean, besides that, not that I haven't had a lot of fun playing human fighters, like, honestly. It goes in two different directions now. One, I love contradictory builds. Always have, always will. It makes for more interesting characters, in my opinion. The Orc Wizard.
Gnome Paladin.
The Gnome Paladin. I was going to say the Halfling Monk.
Yeah.
Things like this, just right off the bat, you have to come up with a reason why this exists. And it makes you think further into your backstory. It makes you really dig for like what a motivation your character has to have gotten to that point. A Dwarven Druid, I fucking loved right
Fair.
off the bat.
Fair, yeah.
That was a great contradiction, and I fucking loved it.
Yep.
It was like he said that, and I was 100% on board from that sentence.
Yep. You don't see those very often.
No, you don't. I mean, you can. Clearly, Stump has a reason to have gone down the path of druidity. Okay, and the second answer to the, besides contradictory things, is you're in a high magic setting more often than not. I love fucking around with spells and magic and environmental effects, and wizards are, and sorcerers are just my jam.
Yeah.
Like, it is just so much fun being like kind of weak in the early levels and then just being an unstoppable wrecking ball later on.
Slinging spells.
Oh no, this swarm of orcs is here. I have fireball. I have create pit. I have stinking
ray.
clown. I have
Stinking clown.
Stinking clown.
yeah, it's my very own variation of stinking cloud.
Oh.
Oh no.
It's terrifying.
It's
Wait.
like, oh no, we don't know where.
Stinking clown. Sound effect. There we go.
It's like, oh no, we don't know where to find things. Well, I have the divination of the cosmos at my fingertips. We need to get in somewhere. I don't worry. I literally am just hacking the system and using cheat codes at this point. I'm enchanting guards.
Yeah.
I'm making this NPC friendly. I'm, beguiling kings.
Really
I am
putting the DM to work.
really putting the DM to work, as Josh often knows of my magical characters.
Like, as a I would say veteran DM, like when you first start off, wizards are
high-level wizards are terrifying as a DM, and you're just like, my entire plan has just completely gone awry. But at a certain point, as a DM, you kind of develop the skill to just be able to roll with the chaos that your players deliver. Even non-wizard players, like players inherently.
I think my human fighters have actually given you more problems.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Inherently,
Well,
sometimes.
Especially because your current character in our high-level game is a human fighter. Well, one of your characters.
Yeah.
Because some people have multiple characters, and we kind of swap them out.
Switch between them and different stories and intersecting storylines.
Yeah. But they when you become a veteran DM, you kind of learn just how to roll with that and accept the chaos that your players bring, and wizards can do things in unpredictable ways that even that you can't just plan around.
And I do have one tertiary answer, which will always be my go-to, but it really depends on what the rest of the group is doing. Rogues.
Mm-hmm.
One, because you can build a rogue in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Talon is obviously a lovable Robin Hood-like character, which is one way to build a rogue. And I don't just mean ability, stats, whatever, build.
Personality-wise.
I mean you can build this character, write this character from the ground up. And that's one way to do it. Another way that I really like playing rogues, and something that not a lot of people think about with rogues, I play mafia-like rogues.
Mm-hmm.
Very organized, meticulous masterminds who manipulate people, who never get their own hands dirty, who, kind of play an organized crime game wherever they are.
Yeah, movie villain.
Yeah. And that's, I think, a perfectly valid way of playing a rogue. You can build a rogue to be a hardened assassin in a world in which they see as bleak. And that they're just fulfilling the contract that they are going upon. Not that you can't build, any kind of character or class into an assassin. They all have viable ways of combat and hurting people. That's what D&D lets you do. But, rogues are my tertiary answer for what is the most fun for me to play. So, human fighter, or some variation of human fighter, with, and then high magic, just straight magic. Let me just absolutely get the cheat codes to reality. And then rogue after that. And high magic can be anything. It can be any of the hardcore casting classes. Wizard, sorcerer, cleric, druid. You obviously prefer to play this druid, or at least stump, in the change into animals kind of way. The transformative combat druid.
I like the combat druid because you have your combat shapes actually have a function other than stealth missions, which anybody can do. That's goofy to me. So you have a function, you have super health pools, and then once you run out of those, you have a full selection of spells that you can still cast.
Mm-hmm. And I totally like the viability, but I would want the archetype that gives me more magical power.
I feel that. Yeah.
I think it's the moon. Well, there's a bunch, but
yeah, I'm
moon is stump. You're thinking of land.
Land. I get it mixed up. Yeah. Because World of Warcraft, Moonkin are the casters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just because, that's...
Yeah.
All right. You yield your time?
I yield my time. Fuck you.
Okay, Chris.
I've got 2 5th edition split between them, and 1 3.5.
We don't talk about 3.5.
3.5, not just Pathfinder?
No, it's 3.5, baby.
Okay, well...
Didn't make it to Pathfinder for good reason.
Okay. Well, let's start with your 5th edition ones.
All right. So... Oh, 5th edition? Oh, okay. All right.
You can start anywhere you want.
Well, okay, but the DM has said for start with the 5th.
I have yielded my time. You can start where you want.
All right. Sorcerer Wild Mages, not as written in the book because there's 50 things you can get in the Wild Magic Surge, but in the one that we found to have over 10,000 results.
Yeah, the extended tables.
Yeah. Those are amazing. One of them my favorite ones was Wild Magic Surge is fighting against a high-level wizard. All his fingers fell off, and so he
Just what happened?
he couldn't cast any like spells that required hand
Like,
movements.
what was amazing about that encounter was you procced the Wild Magic Surge, and the Surge said the next person to cast a spell within X amount of like yards of you or whatever,
Yeah.
their fingers would fall off as they were casting the spell. Usually that would probably apply to you. We happened to be fighting a wizard at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Fuck your somatic components.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we just stomped him into the ground because it's like then everyone's looking through the books. What doesn't take somatic components for him to cast?
Yeah, we had to figure that out. That wasn't a game that I was running. I was playing a character in that game. But
Yeah. And later on in the same game, we were fighting 2 level 20 wizards, and I ended up getting a silence at a mile radius.
Yep.
And
And it fucked all the verbal components.
yeah, and James,
As
being
well
a
as
fighter,
a massive reverse gravity and a whole bunch of other crazy shit because it was just a wild fucking west.
and James being a fighter, took the great opportunity to smash up the wizards. Mm-hmm. It was great. But yeah, Wild Mage, the unpredictability of it, plus all the spell casting stuff, I really liked.
That was a fun fighter. Human fighter for me to play.
Yeah.
That was the definition of chaos.
Yeah, so I like that. Like, in one of your games, James, you gave me, like, a broken Rod of Wonder, and I was just so happy with that.
Well, I mean, you guys were kind of low level for an actual Rod of Wonder, but I wanted to give you guys something, like, really special for completing the quest in such a fantastic way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I gave you guys, like, a short-circuited Rod of Wonder.
You can only do it,
pretty
like,
much.
once per day or something.
Yeah, it was once per day, and I had a massive table.
But yeah, I love the unpredictability of that, as well as like the spell casting utility and the meta magic stuff. I really love for 5th. I suppose the other one I would like is Barbarian. I just like the primal warrior kind of character. Doesn't use any kind of style necessarily, just fights with pure aggression and generally unstoppable force.
Yeah.
Unless it's necrotic or magic,
or force,
or force.
or sometimes psychic.
Sometimes psychic.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you're totem of the bear, then the only thing that can stop you is
only psychic. Yeah.
And I mean, there's very few things with psychic damage.
True.
If you're fighting a mind flare,
There's like some bard spells.
Yeah.
vicious mockery, I think.
I think Vicious Mockery is actually psychic damage.
Yeah. But barbarians, I just like being the frontline tank without using a shield or armor.
Yep. Mix that with fighter, I'm telling you.
Yeah. It's okay, we'll never level up again, so.
Well,
never
if
come
we're
up.
unable to get Wes out of that parallel dimension,
Okay, yeah.
Then we get all of his experience points.
Yes.
Oh shit, dude.
What level are
And
we?
he's in-
5?
He's
We
in
can
a
mix
doomed
that?
timeline.
yeah. Oh yeah. If we aren't able to save Wes from a doomed timeline, then I'll give you all his experience points, even though we don't do experience points.
So we get his levels, though, is what you're saying.
And there's 3 of us, and he's level 5, so I get 3 of those, and you guys get 1.
It was your idea, so you get.
Yeah,
well,
I'm alright with that,
yeah.
boss.
Wait. Yeah.
Trust me, I need the hit points more than you.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Desperately.
Whatever. Go. I'm
All right.
down.
So that's my 5th edition answers. So before I talk about my 3.5 edition, let me familiarize everybody with the spell Magic Missile. Okay, so it's a level 1 spell.
Is this 3.5 or 5th edition?
This is
Magic
3.5.
Missile? Okay.
It's basically the same. So Magic Missile is you cast a spell, and depending on your level in
The
3.5,
spell Magic Missile.
yeah, first level spell, and you get a certain number of magic missiles that no one can dodge, but they do really limited damage.
Shield blocks it though.
Shield,
They
first
do
level spell
a-
gets completely negates the
They
spell
do 1d4 plus 1 damage per
missile.
missile. And the amount of missiles is based upon your level when you
Mm-hmm.
cast it, not the level of the spell.
Yeah, because spells work a little bit differently in 3.5,
Right.
and you can only have up to 5 missiles, I think, in 3.5.
It is limited to 5
Yeah.
at
So
level 11, I believe. Those are very specific things. I vaguely remember, so correct me in the
I
comments
think it's
down
right.
below.
Yeah.
But so I was looking through prestige classes, and there are hundreds of prestige classes for 3.5.
Yep.
Which a prestige class is? How would you describe a prestige class?
It's like a multi-class, but it's a very specific multi-class.
like assassin, I guess would
Like
be.
you have to fall under specific criteria to achieve that multi-class.
Okay, so like Mystic Theurge would be one where you have to have like 5 levels in a cleric or in 5 levels in a wizard to multi-class
Well, you have to,
into.
well, you have to be able to cast like a third level. divine
spell
and third level arcane spell.
You also needed to have a certain amount of ranks in a skill for a lot of them, and that was limited by what level you were.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, usually limiting what level you could at first take a prestige class.
Yeah.
But a prestige class was not necessarily a multi-class because it didn't usually have the features or full features of an additional class to be added on. But it was more a specialized version of something or another that.
And they usually had 3 to 10 levels that you could
And they
gain in it.
usually had 3 to 10 levels rather than a 20 level progression. But they usually fulfilled some sort of archetype that you were going for in a very specific manner. The helpful part was that there were hundreds of them, and so you could probably find something that would fit it.
Yeah.
These classes included things like Assassin, Holy Warrior,
Dwarven Defender,
Dwarven Defenders,
Arcane Archer.
Arcane Archer. So a specific build you were going for, and it would give you the abilities and things of what you were picturing training for in your mind. And some of them were even lore specific. Purple Dragon Knights, Eye Watchers, things of that nature. So what prestige class did you love more than anything else having to do with Magic Missile?
It's a silly prestige class. I think it had 5 levels of advancement. It was Force Missile Mage. As a high level, that was basically what you're doing to people. You got the ability to cast like up to 10 magic missiles per one spell, I think, something like that. And
it removed all the limitations on Magic Missile.
And like the last level in it, which would make you like level 15 by the time you get it, is you can break through the first level shield with your magic missiles.
The
Oh!
only spell in the game that, well, besides greater like resilient spells and invulnerabilities and stuff like that.
Counterspell.
Well, Counterspell wasn't
a
really.
feat in.
Oh,
Counterspell
it
was a
was?
little bit more
Okay.
complicated.
Oh.
You actually had to expend a Magic Missile spell slot in order to counter a Magic Missile spell
Unless you
slot,
had
unless you
improved
had
Counterspell.
Improved Counterspell, the meta magic feat. In which you could
Good
spend
lord. Can we not talk about 3.5?
Okay, I'll wrap it up.
highly complicated system.
But
That's why we don't play it.
But even in the description of the Force
too
Missile
dumb.
Mage, they say other mages make fun of him for focusing on such a simplistic spell.
Well,
But
it's like the most rudimentary damage spell you could possibly have. It has no damage type besides force, which is actually a
it's a
boon,
good one.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's like, but yes, it is the I cast Magic Missile. It's
Magic
Babby
Missile.
Wizard stuff.
Yeah, and I just found it hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if you're going to be good at one thing, be really good at one thing.
Yeah, and that one thing is Magic Missile, baby.
Yeah.
Force Missile Mage.
Yep, Force Missile Mage, best class.
I can respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also gave you access to a higher level Magic Missile like spell called Force Missile, which would combine all of your Magic Missile damage into one big blast.
to get through like
there
spell
was-
resistance,
and damage reduction.
damage
yes.
reduction. Yeah.
Stuff along those lines, because the entire point was to be the Magic Missile beater.
Yep. But I guess
I like those answers though.
those
What
are my
do you- what
favorite
do you-
classes, I guess. Race-wise, I don't know. It really depends on the concept I'm trying to come up with. Like for that, I was an orc, low intelligence wizard, because orcs get like -4 and 3.5 to their intelligence.
But your intelligence had nothing to do with how well Magic Missile got cast.
Yeah, because there's no save. I
It
don't get
was
extra
so
damage.
Brilliant! I loved it.
Yeah. And I think I had enlarge person as like my only other spell.
Yeah.
I know one spell. I'm really good at one spell.
Yeah.
Orc words.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I mean, in that particular campaign, we all played orcs.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was what we deemed the Green Tide game. I actually played, to go along with the contradictory things, an orc monk. And his entire backstory was that his tribe got enslaved by these human slavers. And while he was imprisoned, he toughened and trained and disciplined his body in order to break out of this prison. And by doing that, he taught himself the monk techniques necessary to have like the first couple levels of monk. And then when he broke the rest of his tribe out of this prison, they overthrew the prison, they took it as a stronghold, and the other player characters came in session 2, and they were all orcs. Josh actually played an orc bard.
I played an orc bard monk who was I think I might have been a half orc, or no, I think I was a
we
full
were
orc.
all
We were all
full
full orcs. This character I stole from a podcast that doesn't exist anymore called Fantasy Fiction, but he was a orc bard monk who was a capoeira dance fighter named Diamond.
Yes, I was trying
Yeah.
to remember what the name was, but it was great.
Yeah, and he was a capoeira dance fighter, and he was just like absurd.
He was very absurd, and we all loved it.
Yeah.
And Chris played Macrosh.
No, that was Thamen.
Oh, that was Thamon's
I think.
character?
Or no, was it
Okay.
me? I don't remember. No, I think that was me. Yeah. Thamen
Yeah. He was our shaman / spiritual advisor
/ evil manipulator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Magic missile.
You know,
Yeah,
general,
/ magic
general Golden like orc character.
Yeah, it's basically what I based it on.
And then our other player Thamen, he played the classical orc barbarian
Somebody had to.
mad dog.
Somebody
Yep.
had to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
sure.
We
He literally played like my foil though, because he was the undisciplined mad rager who couldn't even he was going down frenzied berserker, like he couldn't recognize friend from foe.
We did-
Crazy damage dealer.
we did
Yeah.
befriend a giant boar,
We did Samanthony.
Samanthony,
Yeah.
who was also our wife.
No, it was Thamon's
It's
character's
Thamon's
wife.
character's
Yeah.
wife. And
Don't
like,
ask.
it was a whole, it was a weird,
It was a whole joke.
Yeah.
it was a running joke.
But yeah, Thamen was sort of like second in
Samanthony.
command,
Yeah,
basically.
he was second strongest in the tribe.
Yeah.
Well, it's like because I was the one that broke everybody out, I was deemed.
You got the
leader.
cunning.
Yeah,
He got the brutality.
yeah.
You guys reminded me of another thing I really like about 5e, which is kinkus.
Oh, Kinko's, yeah.
Those are the crow guys.
Yeah. They just briefly, I don't even have to talk about this. I can cut this out. But they
No, go for it.
Keep it in.
they stole from their god, and so their god took away their power of flight, and then they fled to Faerun.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so a lot of them become wizards in order to learn how to fly. But I like the concept of Kinku monks, where they spiritually enlighten themselves as a way of flight / freedom.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
You're talking about an orc monk being like
Right.
a weird concept. I like Kinku monks.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with the secondary non-core races from D&D, but I didn't know that was their backstory.
Yeah.
Good concept.
Yeah, they're neat.
Yeah.
They also can't say their own words. They have to mimic everything.
I was gonna say, didn't their
yeah.
god also take away their voices, or not like their voices, but their
Their way they
They're-
can't
they're-
create.
yeah, they
Period.
can't create.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's quite the curse.
Yeah, they can't create. They can't fly,
but
but
they
they
can perfectly mimic anything
Yes.
that they've ever heard.
and write. They
And
can
write.
anything they've ever seen. They can create documents of the exact same
Which
signatures. and
actually
everything.
makes them really effective as
Rogues?
rogues,
Yeah.
bards.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
perfect bards. Yeah, they just copy songs. They
perfectly
yeah.
sing it.
Yeah, they're cover musicians.
They're either cover musicians or
Record
as
players.
I would put it, a record player.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a massive, that there's probably a really good market for that in a high fantasy setting.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even have to learn an instrument.
Like,
well,
you
no,
could
they
just-
would.
You could just
You
hire
can't, yeah.
because they could just replicate it.
But could they replicate like song and instrument at
Yes.
the same time?
I'm pretty sure they can.
Really?
I'd allow it.
Like any noise that they've heard, they can replicate the.
Yeah, they're like lyre birds. Those things are great.
Yeah.
L-Y-R-E
I
birds.
think that's where they got it from.
Yeah.
Um,
Them making a chainsaw
but
noise.
yeah, like imagine
Super weird.
you could probably just sell your services to a rich guy, go hear a song at a concert or something, and he's like, I want to hear this song today, and you just follow him around and much like people play music out of their pockets.
I love kinkus. Also, role playing as a kinku because you can't speak words. You have to say what everybody else around the table said.
It's a lot to keep up with.
It's really funny.
Yeah.
It's super. Everybody else gets annoyed by it, but if you're into it, it's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just parrot everything. Yeah, Kinku Monk. That was my my thing. Do you have a favorite? class?
I do, but Chris has sealed his time.
Oh yeah. Chris, are you done?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was looking at my phone. Yeah, I'm good to go.
Do you yield your time?
I yield my time. Fuck you.
Thank
What
you.
is that from?
It's like
I'll show you the video.
yeah.
later.
Okay.
So as a DM, I mostly run games, but if I had to choose like a specific kind of character class,
And we're out of time today. No.
oh my
Yeah,
god.
Sorry about that.
Good job, everybody.
Yeah.
If I had to choose a specific character class, I would choose Paladin. Paladin and Rangers are kind of like there for me. No, though okay. I
Tasha's
like
Ranger is pretty cool. I'll give you that.
Wait, when did you play Ranger?
Tasha's Ranger, the
Oh,
newest
oh, yeah,
version
yeah,
of
yeah.
Ranger.
I thought you said Josh's.
I thought you
Ranger.
said- yeah.
I was like,
Tasha's.
You
Sorry.
weren't there in that game.
Tasha.
Yeah, I was very
but
confused.
I did like that character.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Same campaign with Chris the Sorcerer and my Human Fighter.
Yes.
It was a very cool campaign.
Yep.
it was a cool campaign. Well, okay, so I don't pick classes specifically for mechanics.
Right.
I tend to play based off of like themes and character archetypes and things like that. But Paladin is my favorite class. I sort of like the hybrid fighter kind of thing with like a little bit of magic, but like for the most part can like handle themselves in a toe-to-toe fight.
Yeah, they're a fighter that can cast Cure Wounds on themselves.
If they need to, yeah.
Or Smite.
Or Smite.
Smite's
I
good.
do like me some Smites.
Yeah, I really like Smite in 5th compared to 3.5. or
Yeah.
So
something
is it like
so much better.
the holy justice raining down kind of extra oomph that you?
Okay, when we played Pathfinder, I enjoyed playing Paladins as well.
Oh yeah, but I mean Pathfinder's a whole different game.
It is. I like the fact I liked how they've made Paladins in 5th edition sort of more open-ended. You're like a knight, you have sort of a divine.
I like how Arthurian it is.
Yeah,
You don't
like,
have to be a lawful good paladin.
You don't have to be
anymore.
a lawful good paladin.
No, but you have to have a vow. Of
Yep.
some
You,
kind.
you follow a code. You follow like it. Well, you follow an oath specifically.
An oath, yeah.
Yeah. And they've made different types of oaths. Like you follow a specific code, and that code doesn't necessarily have to be a good code.
By classical definition of good versus evil.
Yeah, by classical definition of good.
We would
versus
like you to have a good code, because that's what codes are.
Yeah.
They're a good set of rules to follow.
But there's no longer any alignment restrictions.
Yeah, like you.
But I don't mean alignment good. I mean quality good.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah. So I
Didn't get
enjoy playing paladins, and like I've played multiple paladins in 5th at this point. Wait.
Have
There was my Oath of Conquest guy.
Oh yeah, there's him.
And then I also played briefly I played an Oath of Vengeance with a Robert game that I don't think you were in, James.
No, probably not.
Yeah. But I like, and I've been wanting to play other paladins. Like whenever we talk about like me playing another character, paladin is something that I've kind of wanted to go
Right.
down.
Yeah, you have a specific concept in mind. Not gonna spoil it.
Yeah. Well,
So
there's that, but also there was like a I was
another
wanting.
one.
Well, there was like an Aquaman paladin that I kind of wanted to play. That was going to be a Triton paladin of Oath of the Ancients that I was considering playing.
That sounds great.
I'm just gonna look up something real
Yeah,
quick.
yeah.
You keep talking.
So, and he was going to be sort of like the idea of him was he was like an exiled prince who. So yeah, Aquaman.
Yeah.
But like his,
Yeah.
like an exiled prince who like the character concept was like his brother or half brother or whatever. Like I hadn't really thought of like too much of the details, but his entire thing was like he was an exiled prince and was like traveling on the lands, but his brother or whatever had made a deal with Dagon to take over the kingdom, and his whole thing was like he was going to go back and like restore the ancient oaths of the ocean to kind of like fix the shit that went down.
Yeah, you've got like several paladin backstories in your pocket there.
I do. I like
Concepts.
paladins are fun. I love them. I like, and then so with rangers, I also kind of like them as a concept. 5th edition rangers are more utility than mechanics. Like they're not like so great in combat for the most part, but they have a lot of utility when it comes to like outdoor kind of like adventures and like
That's what it's
exploration.
called. I was just looking up the name of it because I had a paladin thing to add on to that. But
Okay, yeah. But like the character that I played in that game, I was
That game being the one where James and I
the one
played
where
the
James was
sorcerer
the
and
fighter and you were the sorcerer. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I played. I forgot his first name.
Peter.
Peter O'Flanagan.
Peter O'Flanagan. That was Johnny O'Flanagan.
Yeah, we were brothers in the game. And so in that campaign, my character was a family man. He had like settled down with his wife and several children. He had a farm that he was running, but his wife had gotten sick, and so he was adventuring to try to like
find a cure.
And like typical magical medicine wasn't working, like cure wounds and cure diseases and things like that.
Restoration, stuff like that.
Yeah. So that wasn't specifically working. So he's like, well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to travel to the big magical city to figure that out.
And try to find a legit doctor.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Isn't that the opening to Red Dead Redemption?
Mm-mm.
Am I going crazy?
First Red?
Sorry.
Red Dead Redemption. I've never played it.
But so, like,
Never played any of the Red Dead games.
Oh.
I played Gun on the 360.
oh
No, not the... No. Oh
No,
my God. You need to play it.
Anyway,
Stop the podcast right now. No.
all right.
This man Red Dead Redemption stat.
Peter O'Flanagan. So
Oh, it's so good.
yeah.
Both of them.
Anyway, Peter O'Flanagan. What I enjoyed about him.
Red Dead Revolver was okay. Sorry. Keep going.
What I enjoyed about him was that he had like this whole connection with his family. A big part of it was he had like several children, and when we started off on our adventure, my oldest daughter snuck away and joined us. So at that point, we had gone too far to just turn around and take her back home. So we were like, all right, we're going to take you with you. She wanted to go to school and become a wizard. So I was like, all right, we'll figure that out when we get to the big city. So that was like the whole thing. And I more enjoyed that aspect rather than the class. Like he could have been, I mean, like it fit with the ranger because he was sort of like a down home country boy who's Irish.
Well, yeah.
But like,
Country boy can be from anywhere.
yeah, true. So, but whenever I make characters, and like a lot of players instinctively want to kind of create characters that don't have any like connections to family members or anything like that, because a lot of DMs
It's easily exploitable.
will exploit that connection and use that to kind of.
It's an easy way to drama.
It's an
Well,
easy-
I mean, it's not that they're exploiting it. I know a few DMs that definitely would in an awful manner,
Yeah.
usually. And that usually gets you onto a railroaded path that they want you to go on. It's an easy thing to exploit.
We kidnapped your wife. Do what you want. Do what we want you to, or we'll kill her.
Yeah.
Kind of things, yeah.
That's Red Dead Redemption.
Yes.
I just looked it up.
Ah.
However, if your character doesn't have any pre-established things, what the hell have you been doing in the world?
Yeah.
You have to have met somebody. You have to have gotten your skills from somewhere. You have to have a reason that you want to go out adventuring.
Yeah.
Like in that game.
Typically, like in real life, that usually involves other people too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like in that game, I was a traveling con man who had no memory.
Yeah.
But
As you do.
yes, and the other thing is, if your backstory is specifically, I don't know anybody, I'm from out of town, I'm new in town, or whatever. Not that your adventure obviously has to take place in one town, but
Yeah.
you know, beyond that.
They generally
If you
start there.
specifically try to do that, it also opens up a lot of room for the DM to then make connections with other people during the game.
Yeah.
Or if you don't have an explained backstory, it's stuff to come up later.
True.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and sometimes you can start a game with like, well, we're just gonna start the game and just play as is, and then as you're going along, as you develop your character more, because like you know, when you start a new character, you're not entirely sure how they're going to react and like what specific things will make them tick. You have like an idea, but as you kind of play and develop, your
Really feel it
character,
out.
You feel it out, and then kind of like learn a bit more about them, and then as you kind of get into it, you can be like, well, I'm going to. I decided that my character wants to have this person from his past come back, and it's like,
Yeah.
and then that's something that you can talk with your dungeon master to be like, well, can we do this? And like a receptive dungeon master will be like, yeah, sure, let's do that. And then so like, and you should always like, I also, and like this will be a controversial opinion, and you guys also might,
Hot take incoming.
Bring on the drama.
yeah. So with characters that I play, I tend to like to create a little bit of conflict.
I've done that.
Yeah,
It's fun. For
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah,
And
same.
it's
yeah,
fun in limited amounts.
yeah.
So I tend to create characters who might
Cause problems.
cause problems, butt up against the party.
You know,
Right. Well, I mean, you like to be that guy.
Yeah.
it's the ADHD in us, Josh,
It
because
is.
it's like whenever you have a party of people just talking about like, okay, what should we do? We should do this, and that takes like hours. Then you, the person that likes to cause problems, you're just like, I'm running into this dungeon
Well,
right now.
I'm
Follow
sorry,
me or
Lee,
not.
that you joined in week 51 of a 52-week campaign.
Yeah,
No,
that,
no, no,
that
no,
game's
no.
nothing but talking.
No,
You can
my
figure
my
things
goblin isn't that kind of character. Okay. 'Cause-
Yeah. Your
It's
goblin's
fine.
well behaved.
But I played a human barbarian fighter actually one time that in a party full of people that were very indecisive about what we should do. We had many people that thought they had great plans, and I would just be like, I'm tired of listening to this. Fuck your plan. I'm in the dungeon.
out. Wild card, bitches.
Exactly.
And again, that's fun in low doses.
Well, I was also
Beyond
thinking.
that,
I've grown
it's
since then.
really
Yeah,
fucking
that's good.
annoying.
I've grown a lot since then.
Well, so
Yeah.
one character that I'm specifically thinking of is a character. It was a sorcerer in a game that James ran, and I specifically played a lawful evil, spoiled rich guy sorcerer.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
my
Oh, I mean, it was fine for me then because I was DMing.
Yeah, you didn't have
I
to-
could just roll with it.
when
I didn't have
also
to play with
also I was the idea was I was playing the character to start off as a spoiled rich kid sorcerer who basically was raised by a tyrannical douchebag,
you. Right.
and so his entire worldview was based off of like, I am the better person, I'm always right, and I know what's best for everyone, and I'm stuck up and selfish.
yeah, sorcerer.
And what was particularly fun about running that game was humbling you every single step.
Yeah,
of the way.
and that was also what I had intended with that character. Was my character arc that I had planned for him was
Yeah,
him.
but we also discussed that.
We did discuss that.
Yeah.
My favorite part was when you were in a house, it exploded, then it fell over on you, and then it exploded again.
It did explode again. Yeah.
Yeah.
God damn, do I love wild magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My man.
But yeah, so like that. But that was like a character that I specifically was like, this character is going to be like grating on the other players because he's an evil guy in a party of good guys, and specifically like a lawful
I
evil
didn't
guy.
really find him to be very evil, per se.
Well,
Like, when people are evil, I feel like they have very malicious and selfish intentions.
I did brand that bandit.
Yeah, but that was more of a...
Yeah.
That was like first session and you were kind of feeling out the character.
That was like, was that first session
That
or was
very
it second
first-
session?
first
I don't
session.
Okay.
remember.
I mean, yeah, I was still feeling out the character, but
Was that when I kept running into vats of acid?
That was second session. I
Okay,
think.
yeah.
You didn't keep running into vats of acid. You kept not checking for traps. And a guy who was...
I'm a monk. I've got a good save.
famous last words.
Yeah, they were. Not that I died, but
yeah. So, I mean, I enjoy creating characters who might cause problems.
yeah.
And doesn't quite mesh. Like, I would do depending on
yes, you branded the bandit, but it's not like you were in the wrong for doing it. You had a whole thing. The fun part about that is if that campaign would have gone on longer, that was actually going to be a recurring villain.
That's kind of what I was hoping.
Um,
Was like,
or not
'cause-
villain, but like antagonist.
Yeah.
I had a whole story of what he was doing while you guys were doing things. This NPC, because you branded him. And
Yeah.
He had the very specific mark of the phoenix on it, and you kept going around talking about how you were the phoenix or
Yeah.
whatever.
The Phoenix King.
The Phoenix King. He was actually going to steal your fame.
oh, that fucker.
Yeah, and then he was like, and people were gonna be like, yeah, the Phoenix King, and you're like, oh, people know about me. And they're like, who the fuck are you?
Oh,
Yeah, and then
alert.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, I told you about like the magical train that you guys were gonna have to rob.
Yeah.
He was gonna be the head of the mercenary group
Oh.
that was gonna be defending.
Magical train.
Yeah, I had a whole train robbery encounter planned. There's a whole bunch of
A
fun
magic
things.
train.
I had.
Was it a +1 train?
Yeah. Dude.
Also, as a player,
Flaming
It was
train.
actually powered by air genies that were enslaved in the engine compartment.
For
and-
steam power.
Yes. And
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Gotcha.
+3 train.
Yeah. +3 of
Um,
air.
and also as
Yeah.
as a player,
But you were
this
gonna
is-
have to rob the train
yeah.
to get the thing, and he was gonna be there. And
stole my identity.
yes, precisely. And
That would've
so
been
all
great.
of the things that you, again, I had a lot of steps and plans on how to humble your character,
Yeah.
and
Also, I don't know I wasn't in this game, but Pontifex.
Well, that was a
oh my, like making like weird immature characters your idea of being.
well, no,
evil?
Pontifex. Well, that was like a character that like he existed for one session.
Oh, that's it.
Well, he was brought.
True, technically.
Yeah, he was brought in for 2 sessions, and he just didn't mesh with the party, so it didn't work out.
right.
So, well, because like his whole like he had like a whole thing of like freedom of information kind of thing, and there was a specific thing where you withheld information, and that kind of didn't.
He had a personal. My character had a personal.
I
note
know.
written to him.
It was a minor thing to you, but not to this
but not
Pontifex.
to this guy. But
It was like, do you want to read all of my mail?
I mean, well,
It sounds like he did.
well,
Yes, he
well,
did.
The situation was we had gone into this base to like. I don't remember like the specifics, but we got into this base to clear it out.
Yeah, we assaulted a cultist fortress.
Yeah,
And they had already left
yeah,
the area, and they left my character a note because this was the second time we had gone there.
yeah.
The first time I realized how outclassed we were, and made an argument with the cult leader about how I don't disagree with what he's doing, who he is, or anything like that. But if he continues to be in the place that we were later assaulted, he's only going to lead to a bunch of bloodshed, which is something he directly said he didn't want. So he was setting us up as, like, to be a whole false flag operation, more or less. Like, they were going to be the martyrs that sparked an entire thing. And I convinced him to leave instead. And then when we got all prepped and ready to go back and
And
actually
recruited
assault...
Pontifex, my character.
No, your character tagged along.
Well, I like the
He
idea.
told you weren't ready for it.
It was like
But as a player character, yes, you were obviously invited to go, but...
I wasn't in this game, so I cannot corroborate this.
Yeah, me neither.
I was. I mean, I was basically like,
And then, yeah, the guy left me a note being like, yo, you were right. I'm sorry for the things we did. I never intended for it to get to this point. I didn't want to cause violence.
but like in this situation, all you said was like, "We're done. We don't need. We're leaving."
I said, they're gone. We're done. And that's it.
And as far as Pontifex knew, he was like, "Well, why is that? You didn't tell us anything. There's no information being shared.
It
Why
could be
did they
seen as a
leave?"
fishy thing.
Like
without knowing.
Pontifex saw it as suspicious because like as far
If
as
he's
he
new
knew,
to the party,
like
I could see it being suspicious. But I don't know.
yeah. So then Pontifex left the group.
I think Josh was just sour because I killed his previous character.
You did kill my previous character.
For also
Oh.
doing douchebaggy things.
To be fair, I got tied to a demon, and it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
To be fair, you summoned that demon. And
On
tied,
accident.
And tied yourself to
On
it.
accident.
I've heard that before.
It was an
Did
accident.
you load up a bunch of paradox?
I did, yeah.
Well, we happen to be living in a very specific society of people that
It was a Mage of the Awakening game.
Yeah.
it's like, even on accident, we have to get rid of you now.
Yeah.
Like,
So
sorry.
yeah. Well, and like the whole thing was like I was in like survival mode. I was like, oh, they're gonna kill me now. I should try to protect myself by siding with this demon that I accidentally summoned because otherwise you're just gonna kill me.
But the moral of Pontifex.
So Pontifex came back several years later, or like however.
Both in and out of game.
Yeah, in and out of game. This was like months after.
No, this was literally 4 years later.
Was
And
it 4 years?
Also 4 years later in the game.
Okay, yeah. 4 years later, he came back and blew up your house.
Moral of the story: protect your house against every type of magic. Not every, but one you think no one uses.
No one used it.
Well, this was a
Use
Robert
spirit
game,
magic.
Yeah.
and Robert was like, "Hey, do you want to bring Pontifex back as like an antagonist?" And I was like, "Sure, okay."
And you snuck in and blew up their
And
house.
then it was like, so it's like, and then it was like,
Well, I mean, it was like a really, really awful like session because there was no recap of anything that happened, and then like the main you were with the main villain of the story, except that he was like very tertiary up to that point,
yeah,
and so I completely forgot who the fuck this guy was. But we ended like that on that game previously on like a really horrible note of this guy killing a really important NPC and all this other shit. And Lee looks really annoyed that we're just talking.
Then me and Chris are like giving each other like looking at the wrist kind of.
yeah. To be fair, I was barely in this game,
And I've
even
only
though I
heard
had
this
3 characters in this campaign. But I like
I killed all 3 of your characters.
you killed all 3 of my characters.
To show you why you don't want to play as that guy.
Well, actually, no, my 3rd character,
James will come and kill your character.
my
Cut it.
my
We're done. Stop
my
talking.
3rd character was the sweetest and nicest guy.
He was. It was just really well. Killing your 3rd character was actually a mercy
Yeah,
because, and I wasn't planning on having you permanently dead because I was able to transfer you into a different vessel later.
yeah,
We just didn't play that far.
yeah.
But like literally, he had magical assassins coming after him. That were going to brutalize him in horrible ways, and my character was like, I can't have that happen to him. He is a sweet old man, really.
Yeah. And like, I was like,
So I had to kill you and take your soul.
yeah, yeah. It was a whole thing,
It was a whole thing.
but the first 2 characters were total shits.
Yeah.
long story short, James will kill Josh every time. That's why Josh is always the DM.
Yes,
Pretty much, yeah.
that's yeah.
Or James the DM.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I'm not wasting my time playing with his characters. I'll just kill them. See what happens next.
What about Peter and Johnny?
That was your one good character. No, I'm just kidding.
Dang.
They were all good.
Yeah,
But,
Yeah.
I mean, like also
and
those
even they fought quite a bit. But
they're
more in
brothers.
But more in a brother.
in a
Yeah.
like, brotherly way, like brotherly disagreements.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So how are we on time, Lee?
We're out
Oh.
of it.
Have a good night.
No, but I do like our OCC or OOC's conversations though.
Yeah.
You know, it might take me a little while to get to the other timeline, the doomed one where we left Wes in. We might need to record one more of these.
Maybe a
next
couple
week.
more.
Yeah. And we know it's July, but June Patreon questions are upcoming.
That
We
is
are
true.
still working on some things. They might be
We've
out before
had-
August.
Lots of technical difficulties.
We've had lots of technical
we
difficulties.
apologize.
We also have jobs. Some of us very
well,
full time.
I mean, yeah, but we decided to take on this
We did.
project even beyond that.
Yeah.
Even while having jobs.
We've
Yeah.
just been deciding on how to do the format exactly.
And, yeah, formatting has been an issue, and then also just like scheduling.
Yeah.
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 With one of us being stuck in the Doom timeline.
With one of us being stuck in a Doom
Makes it
timeline,
difficult.
Makes it very difficult.
So, yeah.
And hopefully we'll have July out before the end of the year.
And if you enjoy this episode, let us know.
Let us know.
And I'm going to force another one on you next week regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woo. Go Packers.
Intro, outro, and sound engineering performed by Lee Nesbitt. You can find more of his work at undercoverbeard.bandcamp.com. Background music is provided by Epidemic Sound, and the artwork is provided by Alex. And we'd like to give a very special thank you to our listeners.
Yeah, that means you. Especially you. You're very special. And don't you ever let anyone else tell you otherwise.